Today is a day off of sorts for me, and it's kind of rare for me to get a lot of time really to myself, a lot of time off, and for me, when I get this kind of time off, I really enjoy just sitting down in my studio on my little beanbag chair and just listening to music, listening to records. It's something that I used to do when I was younger, when I first started getting into vinyl, getting into crate digging, just sitting back and listening to music. And, I found as I've gotten older, as I've progressed in my professional career and professional capacity, it becomes harder to take a moment to just sit back and to enjoy and indulge in those things that really enhance you internally. And for the most part, for me, what that is something that has to do with music. Primarily, I love to find vinyl. I love to find new music. And when it comes to crate digging and when it comes to really, I guess, the art of sampling, because I would say 85% of the vinyl that I collect, I have the intention of sampling from it and creating something else out of it. So when I go crate digging, about 75% of the time, I don't even listen to the record until I get home. I have no idea what I'm getting into. And I guess I've kind of conditioned myself to do that, primarily because I think there's some value in the aesthetics of hearing something that you never heard from the first time in the comfort of your home. I think number two, especially someone like me who enjoys the look and feel of a record, who enjoys looking at the artist who is responsible for creating that record, the year of it, the origin of that record. I want to be surprised. I want to be amazed at what I listen to, and maybe it's something I don't even expect for it to be. I could put records in maybe 3 different categories when it comes to crate digging. I think my number one category is going to be like just a known record. Something that you look at, you know the artist, you may know the song, and that is a name or a song that you can trust. You've heard it before at some point, you've heard that artist before at some point, and that is like one of the safer bets. You don't have to listen to it before you purchase it. You already know what you're getting into when you buy that record. You're premeditated in that purchase. The second part of that would be like in the realm of context clues. So for example, if there is a record by Blue Note Records, I think in my head, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably going to have like some sort of jazz sound to it. It's probably going to be contextualized in my aesthetics as far as what I like to listen to when I like to listen to a jazz record. So this is probably going to be a good record. I don't know if they still do albums like this, but I'm pretty sure that they do. But you would also run into those albums, those records that would do, I guess for lack of a better term, they would be covers of popular songs of that time. So it would be maybe a fully piano rendition of the top hits of 1965, or someone would do an acoustic guitar of your favorite soul albums, or an orchestral rendition of Frank Sinatra's greatest hits or something like that. Those albums to me are golden because they have the familiarity of something that you know, but what you don't know is exactly how it sounds, how they interpreted a classic hit for the sake of that album that they've created. Then, of course, you get into the more obscure albums. You may run into an album, like I have a record that teaches people how to teach a parrot to talk, or that gives etiquette on how to talk to people using a CB radio. Those type of albums that you see and you're like, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. I'm not sure what this is, and I have no idea what it sounds like. Those make me salivate. I can't wait to get a record like that. And part of me is just curious about the journey that this record has taken in order to get to this one particular spot. Like, who has a German exercise record? What is it doing in a thrift store in Mississippi? I think that's just kind of the fascination with vinyl. In this age where everything is just easily acceptable at a click of a button, to kind of run into and to stop into a record store and find an album from a whole nother part of the world, from an entirely different decade, a different era in time, is just priceless. It's priceless, and it's something that when I see it, it's hard for me to not want to get my claws into it. So today, as you can probably hear in the background, I'm here listening to one of the records that I've purchased. And what I'll probably end up doing as I'm listening to it right now, I have heard what I want to potentially use to make a song. So I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But if it does, I'll just continue on that journey on this video. So typically, what I used to do in the past when I would find a record or find a song that I wanted to sample off of, I used to only just nitpick and listen to the parts of the song that I wanted to sample and then just record those. And now, as I become a little bit more refined with my sampling, I just sample the entire song. And I just take the entire song, and from there, that's where I start segmenting it out, and with the potential of going back to that particular song and taking other parts out of it. I don't want to miss a single part. When you see the labels on these older records, let me see if you can get it back better, but it says stereo, so you see where it says stereo there. The reason for that, which you may not know, it wasn't because you went from a mono to a stereo where you could hear things on both speakers. The reason why they did that was because, just like in television, a lot of it was mimicked of seeing a play on stage. That's why there were still sets, even though they were doing television shows. The way that they had the audio on records was to mimic being at a concert or in a coliseum or in a place where you saw a live band or a live orchestra performing. So if you were in an actual hall where there was an orchestra, the strings may be on your left side and the wind instruments may be on your right side. And even though you would hear both of them, you would still be able to hear the strings a little bit more on your left side and woodwind instruments a little bit more on your right side. So listening to that would kind of replicate having two different sections in space and time. And that's where that stereo portion came from. It would mimic you actually being in a live area and listening to sound on two different sides that were still projecting to you as a single individual. Part of this is pretty much deciding what kind of drums I'm going to use on here, based on the sample. I have just this core group of drums that I just love to use on almost every beat that I make. But at times I think it's just, you have to change it up, right? I have to force myself to change it up and then not use the exact same drums.